Hi and welcome to the running channel. I'm Anna and today I'm here at Saucony Stride Lab to go through all things gait analysis. So hopefully we'll be able to answer all of the questions that you send through to us about gait analysis by having my gait analysed and finding out what kind of a runner I am. If you're new around here, we upload new videos every week, so don't forget to hit subscribe and tap the bell icon so you get notified when we do.
So, welcome to Saucony Stride Lab. So what we've got here is we have 3 cameras that are going to be analysing all parts of your body. In a traditional analysis, all you would see is the heel or maybe up to the knee. What we do is, with these cameras, we look at the whole body, so we can see from the rear all the way above the head. From the front, we're looking at the ankle and the knee. And from the side, we can really look into how you're landing and the whole body. So what we do then is, using this system, Contemplous, we will put all 3 videos together and they'll run in sync with each other. So we can pause you on an initial foot strike and we can see what's happening from the rear, what's happening from the front, what's happening from the side, all at exactly the same time, which gives us sort of a greater picture of what's going on. That, combined with some of the questions that we're going to go through in a minute, I can really get an understanding of you as a runner. Because gait analysis, the thing with gait is that every single time you take a step, your gait can change. Every single time you take a step at a different speed, your gait can change. Every single time you take a step in a different shoe, your gait can change. So by looking at just gait analysis from the rear, it only really tells a small picture. But with Stride Lab, we can look at the bigger picture. Then what we can do after the analysis is we can identify some of the issues that you might have. And then whether that be through a change in shoe or whether that be through introducing you to a strength and conditioning coach or introducing you to a podiatrist, we can really sort of get exactly what you need in place to become a better runner. Yeah. It's really important that people don't think that they are one type of runner and that at all paces they do exactly the same thing. So with this Stride Lab, we'll be able to see the changes and then be able to identify what you need to be wearing for each of those. There's also a load of studies that suggest that we can reduce injury risk by wearing 2 different types of trainers. So most running injuries are sort of repetitive strain injuries that occur from the same stimulus over and over and over again. If we change that stimulus by wearing a different pair of shoes that's going to put your foot in a slightly different position, you reduce that risk of injury. Yeah. So, and the other thing is shoes need to recover like we do, and a shoe that's been worn 3 days in the week is not the same on the 4th day. The cushioning will not work as well, the shoe will heat up, the characteristics of the cushioning will change. It's good to use different shoes just to keep it fresh as well. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to input your data into here and then we'll move into the gait analysis. Yeah. So we've got all the footage. What I've done here is I've synced all 3 videos together. So what that means is, as your left foot comes in contact with the ground now, it's the same on all 3 cameras. Yeah. From this lateral camera, we can look at how well you're absorbing that force, how efficient you are, how well you're generating force. From the middle camera, we can start to see how strong you are and look at whether there's any instability in the hips, whether that has any effect on the knees or the ankles. And then from the front camera, we can actually confirm a few things that we couldn't quite see on the middle camera. So something like ankle rotation is often better looked at from the front because we can see how much ankle rotation or where that rotation is coming from, which from the back you can't see at all. What you're doing is you're forefoot striking. What's important though is that you're landing with a nice bend at the knee, and if the knee is bent, it's acting like a spring and it's absorbing that force. If the knee is stiff, it'd be like chucking a pencil on the ground. The pencil will just ping off. You put a spring, it will spring off. So that's the difference there, and that shows that there's efficiency in your running gait. In an ideal world, I've actually marked a line here where your centre of mass would be. Yep. As close as possible to that centre of mass would be the ideal landing position. You're at a pretty comfortable pace there. If we were to up the pace, I bet we'd see you landing in a slightly more efficient landing position. Yeah. One thing you can do to sort of manage that and to bring that foot strike in is start looking at things like cadence and stride length, but that can be done with a running coach. What I'm going to take you onto now is to show you that actually your right leg lands in exactly the same position as your left there. So in terms of stride length, it's almost the same. Yeah. What we're looking for here is exactly what you've got. We're looking for that triple extension, straight leg at the back. That means you've pushed all the way through and you're generating force for that forward momentum. In other scenarios, we'll see a bent leg at the back there, and that might be because the glute isn't engaging, or it could be that the hamstring is too tight, or there's tightness in the hips that's not allowing you to get into that extended position. Yeah. But you get into that position well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the middle camera and we can assess your stability. Just before landing, you're in the air at the moment, there's no force going through the body, so what you're in is you're in a neutral position. You can see the hips are neutral. Yeah. Then watch what happens when you start absorbing force. So we've got foot strike there, and we'll roll all the way through to mid stance. Yeah. Mid stance is the point where your body's absorbing the most amount of force, and then you'll start picking up again. What we can see here, and I've identified it with the green line, is this hip drop. Yeah. See the hip drop? And the thing is with the hip, if you're in contact with the ground with that left leg, and you haven't engaged your glutes, and you're not in a stable position, and the core isn't switched on, you're going to get that drop. Yeah. The issue with that drop, and this drop happens in 95% of runners that we analyse, so it's completely normal. But the issue with that drop is you're throwing the weight in the wrong direction. So your body's got ways of adapting to that. First thing it will do is it will try and adjust it using the upper body. So you can see there, you're falling to the right and your left arm has come in and your right arm has come up. Every single step it will be doing that in a minor level. Yeah. Then what we can see is that because of the hip drop, this knee is dropped below the knee that's in contact with the ground. Yeah. So then what you've got is, because the force is going that way, you've got pressure on the inside of the left leg and down at the ankle because of the weight going that way. Your body needs to absorb that, and it does that very well, it does that very efficiently. What we can actually see is that there isn't any excessive knee rotation from this front camera here. Yeah. It's dead straight, and actually at the ankle, you're in a neutral shoe there isn't really any instability in the ankle. The thing with pronation is that it only becomes overpronation when it's causing issues for yourself. We have athletes that, if you analyse them how you would in a normal retail environment, you would say that they're overpronators. When they've got no issues. We put them in a support shoe, they get issues. So actually overpronation is defined by cause of injury. Yeah. If it's not causing injury, then it's natural. And there should be supination and pronation in a normal running gait. How much depends on how much injury you're getting. So what I'd advise there is definitely taking these images to a strength and conditioning coach in your local area, or even maybe to a physio so they can address these issues.
Hopefully that's given you some idea about gait analysis and what is looked for when it comes to your running technique and your running style and all the different shoes out there to choose from too. Don't forget to leave us a comment below if you've got any questions at all about it, and we'll see you next time on the Running Channel.